ending up on the plate. And Democrats who balk at the Speaker's recipe also have a nasty habit of being cooked themselves. Reaction now from Ohio Democratic Congressman John Boccieri, who is still undecided about the bill at this point, despite being offered a ride on Air Force One, which he refused, and a host of other incentives and goodies, which we're told he all declined until he makes up his mind here. Congressman, good to have you.
Hi, Neil. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, boy, you're like the belle of the ball right now, Congressman. You're one of the few noted undecideds out there, and everyone is trying to woo you. Where are you leaning?
Well, Neil, I believe that the country needs to have this debate. We need to have reform. We need health care reform, but we need to do it in a way that doesn't explode deficits, that contains costs, and goes after the bad actors who propagate fraud, waste, and abuse in the system. That's the debate that the American people want us to have.
But they don't like a lot of what your colleagues have put together. It's not that they're against health care, but they're certainly against what they've seen your party collectively put together. You had concerns the first go-round when you voted against this in November. Is it markedly different now?
Oh, it is markedly different. And in fact, we just had the Congressional Research Service do a study for us, and they have shown us that the bill that will incorporate the ideas the president took from the summit that he had, the bipartisan summit with the Republicans, almost point by point, when those points are added, this will be identical, if not extremely similar, to the bill that Lincoln Chafee and Bob Dole introduced as a counter-proposal, the Republican counter-proposal to President Clinton's national debate on health care.
All right, so this is maybe more in your liking.
Well, I think that once the fog settles and the dust clears and the fog of war is over in terms of the battle that we're having here in Washington to reform the system, folks are going to see that we want to end the abusive practices of the insurance industry. We want to make sure that you can't get dropped because you get sick. You have a sin of getting ill while you're at work. You can't be denied coverage because you had a pre-existing condition. And I just think that this nation, our nation, needs to have this debate because, as we know...
No, I understand what you're saying about the debate, sir. I don't mean to interrupt, but it sounds to me like you're more yay now than you were certainly in November.
Well, I have said that even the House bill that I did not support incorporated a lot of the great ideas that we need to incorporate in health care reform, like ending pre-existing conditions and making sure you can't get dropped with coverage.
Well, but you know, they have been trying to woo you, and my hat's off to you. I mean, when the president offers you a ride on Air Force One and you decline, either you're your own man or you're just crazy as hell. So I don't know which it is. But why did you tell me about that?
For this Air Force pilot, as you may well know, I flew C-130s out of Baghdad, so I'm well accustomed to pressure. But nonetheless, for this Air Force pilot, passing up that ride was very tremendous. I just think that,
why did you? Why did you not? Did you just not like the appearance, or maybe you've been on Air Force One for all I know, and you tried the food and it's not that hot? I don't know what.
No, I think I need to focus on the job and the task at hand here. You know, if I wanted to, I didn't need the national stage and to be on stage with the president to understand how important this debate is for our country to have, and I needed to get back to Washington to read the bill.
So, Congressman, we're hearing talk about how a lot of your colleagues, if they're not being wined and dined or wooed with trips on Air Force One, they're being threatened. Some are having union reps call them and say, it might be a very good idea for you to vote for this, or we might just fund your opponent or set up a primary challenge or a third-party challenge. We've heard a lot of talk like that. Have you gotten anything like that?
I have not had any of those calls or threats levied at me. At the end of the day, the pressure that I'm receiving is back from our district. You know, our folks want us to make the right decision. We have a lot of physicians. The largest employer in our congressional district is a hospital. And you know, we've been in constant contact with them, going over language and trying to understand how this impacts and how this benefits them.
All right, Congressman, you're a good man, and both sides can certainly admire your service, to say the least. Thank you, sir. We're very curious how it all turns out.
Pleasure.
All right, meanwhile, California Republican David Dreyer has been watching